Hi, and welcome to episode 13 of Dear FiComm. Dear FiComm is our free resource for financial advisors and your teams. When you're trying to navigate marketing and your growth, we welcome you to write in with a question or a thought or something you're working on, and we create these video replies for you for free. I'm excited about today's question. It comes from Anna Lewis, who is creative director at Financial Design Studio. Anna writes in wondering about this balance between personal content and company content on LinkedIn. She's saying how, it's one thing to post personal content on your personal page. It's another that we, as a brand, we want to be human, we want to be authentic, but how do you dance this line between being a professional firm and also being human and posting personal stuff on LinkedIn? You are not the only one who's wondering about this, Anna. It is an art. It is something to talk through and be strategic about. So I'm going to help you think through this in the way that I often consult within our Advisor Accelerator program. So when I'm working with a firm and I'm trying to help them create these personal posts, there is a discussion. And so I can give you a glimpse into what that discussion can look like. Plus, Anna sent in a link to a current existing post from the firm. We'll show you that as well today. And ultimately, Anna, because I know you are the person that wrote in with this question, I can give you some direct ideas that I'm seeing at first glance. So at the very start, what's important to consider here is you are in control. You are in control of what the brand posts. You as a firm can decide where the boundaries are. So that should feel comforting to you, right? No one's going to come into your office and say, you must post what you ate for breakfast, right? That's not going to happen. So sit back and relax into that decision-making. The opportunity becomes, what are the bounds? What are you comfortable with and what does not align with the brand? So this is where strategy comes into play. First thing is, let's make sure we're being strategic. At this moment, we usually look at what's your brand's tone. In the accelerator, we help firms define 3 words that describe the firm's authentic tone. So if you have some tone words, that can be really helpful. Sometimes it's like, we are, professional, but we're also very friendly and approachable, right? So there's often words like that come through. We'll look at tone, and we'll also look at who are you trying to connect with? Who is the exact person, your ideal prospect, avatar, and think about them in their world and think about them in their lens of the world. What would they want in an advisory team? What would they want to know about you? What would they be delighted to hear about you? What would they think is fun to see from the firm? And brainstorm a little bit about your who. And then you can always think about, what are we trying to get out of this? Like, why are we posting personal content? Send a little bit of intention around what's a result we're looking for? Why do this in the first place? Sometimes an answer there is, well, we want people to feel like they can approach us, that we are people, that they like us, and we want to connect with that perfect who in a way that is deeper and meaningful compared to other firms they might be poking around and looking at online. Once we've aligned on the strategy, we've kind of oriented around, okay, we're in control, we have a reason for doing this, we're excited to do it within our bounds, it becomes creating the container. So with this point, Anna, I'm going to bring up the post that you shared with us and offer some ideas based on what you currently do. Okay, here's the post that, Anna, you've sent in with your question. What I do see is there is some personality coming through, right? It's a picture of 2 people at a desk smiling, having a good conversation. Already I feel like, okay, I'm going to be able to get to know these people if I listen to the podcast episode that's being shared. You also chose a topic that's more on the personal side, so that's a good win, right? We want best for our kids. How do we set them up for success? So I know this is going to be about my family and thinking about that personal side of my finances, not just my 401k at work. So already you're off to a great start. But when it comes to containing a personal post, now becomes the opportunity to say, what on the personal side, what are some topics we might talk about there? The first step here is a brainstorm with the team. And I often say, write out all of the fears on the board, right? If we think about, okay, we're going to post personal content, I don't want it to be this. I don't want it to be that. I don't, I have a personal boundary here. I'm not, for instance, I'm not going to show pictures of my kids. Some people have that as a boundary. Some people will say, I'm not going to post pictures that are in my home. Some of these things. Create the bounds and write all of the things you don't want to do and let people let that out. Then on the other side of the paper or on the other side of the whiteboard, write out what we do want. So we do want to be friendly. We do want to talk about our hobbies. We do want to show that we are a fun team. We do want to express what brings us joy in the way that we spend money. I don't know what it's going to be for your team. But at the end of this brainstorm, you will have an initial list, an initial brain dump of what we don't want to touch on and what we are excited to touch on. The excited list will become a list of ideas that you could try. And from here, we move into experimentation. So we might choose one thing off that list and give it a go. Another thing, though, I would touch on before we move out of the containing phase is the brand visual or design. So you had mentioned in your question a piece of, the personal stuff doesn't necessarily go with our brand. This could be an opportunity to do two things. One, create a template, right? So if you're sharing a podcast episode, this is the template that you all are using. What would be a design template for personal posts? It could be a visual consistency there. Second, whenever you are trying to create a personal post, maybe you ask for 3 options, or you kind of gather photos that are all options and you just choose the one that fits the brand the best. For instance, if you want to post a photo of what our team got up to this summer, maybe you ask the team, hey, if you're willing to be part of this fun post we're putting up in 2 weeks, send us a few pictures of your summer and for the chance to be included. So people will send you 3 different pictures maybe, and then you get to choose the one that most best represents the brand. Those are some good approaches and rules of thumb to be thinking about as you navigate the post itself. But now let's get into experimentation. Ultimately, if this is a new thing you're going to explore, we want to adopt a mindset of experimentation. So this is where we go back to our strategy of why we're doing this. What change are we looking to see if we were to post more personal content on LinkedIn? A change might come in within about 3 to 6 months. So, right, within 6 months, we're hoping to see increased engagement, right? We're hoping that one of our personal posts performs twice as good as our podcast episode posts. Or we're hoping that maybe part of our networks start to re-engage. So at the end of 6 months, we're hoping that 2 people from our audience that were not engaging with us are now booking prospect calls. Or you might say clients are mentioning it. Maybe clients are coming in for their meetings or they're having calls with advisors and they're saying, I'm loving seeing what the team is up to. Setting your success vision up front will help you reflect back on whether it's working or not. Also within experimentation comes, what are the ideas we're doing? So I have a few direct ideas for you and the team based on what I've seen. Typical ideas you'll hear when it's around personal content on LinkedIn are kind of like team events, right? So if the team has a holiday dinner, it's like posting that picture. Or if you bring in lunch for the team, or there's a birthday, right? If there's a team moment, sharing that. It's a nice opportunity to be like at work, but also people at work. Another one is living your company values. I actually have an example I could link below from the FiComm team. One of our values as a company is to hustle and then rest. So we are all high achievers. We work really diligently, but then we also value rest. We value family time. We value getting away from the computer and recharging as humans. So we put up a compilation of pictures of our team living that value. We were invited to participate if we wanted, and it was just a way for us to post saying, hey, here's our company value and here's our team living it out. So those are some nice starting points, right, that could match anyone listening here. For Financial Design Studio, some ideas that I wrote down in my notes are post about your personal reflections on a podcast. So if you and Michelle recorded this podcast together, sometimes after you're done, you have a personal thought about it, or you could say, here's how I live it out in my life. So as a reaction to a recent episode, you could record a short video and say, I was thinking about episode 36 and thought about how I do this with my kids. So you could tag on to a piece of content, but share a personal story. You could also look at themes in small talk. So small talk in the office, small talk with the clients. This will help you understand organic ways that you're already connecting as humans. So maybe there's a quirk in the office that people often talk about their pets, or you're really into hiking as a team. I don't know what it is, but these types of cultural conversations. Look at the small talk within the team, and then also ask advisors, what's the small talk you have with clients before the meeting really begins, or afterwards when you're walking them out of the office? What are you talking about? Maybe you're talking about the weekend plans and that local restaurant you're going to try out. Maybe someone's talking about visiting their kids at college next month. Small talk can really help you brainstorm around more natural topics that match the brand. And the other thing you could share, I think about, is what's overheard in the hallway at Financial Design Studios. So that could be something where you post a funny quote, or you talk about something that's currently being discussed at the water cooler of the firm. So these are basically moments to say, okay, we're at work, but we're also humans talking about non-work things. It's not educational, it's relational. Anna, I hope some of these frameworks and processes for tackling it were helpful for you today. Do let me know how it goes. Let me know what the team says. What's that small talk element? I'm curious to see what the firm does next. And for everyone else watching today, let us know what you're thinking about as you grow the firm. We're very happy to help you through this free resource. All right, I'll see you in the next episode.